Here in Kenya, technology is increasingly being used to tackle food insecurity. The founder of Ukulima Tech, a startup company, is looking towards addressing the needs in urban areas and the options available for those interested in taking up farming. More than 100 households have so far taken up the technology. CGTN's Beryl Ooro has the details.
Population growth and industrialization continue to apply pressure on the precious resource that is land. Further still, apportioning of the land continues to limit African countries' ability to sustain large-scale farming. So what happens to those who are interested in farming living within the cities and only have a little piece of land? Technology is stepping in to create a new vision for farming on the vertical plane through an app. Hansel Omonde is an innovator, and he's using technology to teach Kenyans about food sustainability.
So I was more interested in security systems. So most of the robots I was designing were for security operations. But then, by then, Kenya wasn't ready for robotic solution in security systems. So I had to figure out a way of using the knowledge I had in robotics and automation to be able to come up with a solution that can impact the society positively.
And he has an impressive app to support farmers living in the city.
So I figured out I could automate gardening systems and also try make gardening systems smaller such that they can fit in any available space. So from there, that's when I started the research, came up with the vertical gardens. Later also came up with the elevated garden beds and raised garden beds. So from there, that's when I got the automation into the gardening system.
Cities do not usually come to mind when talking about agriculture, though.
And in an urban setup, there's a lot of space, though people don't know. You can practice this on perimeter walls, if you have a balcony, rooftops, any space that you have.
If well nurtured, number one. Second, if there's appropriate support, finance, markets, and registration that can be able to make these kind of innovations that are using very less space to be able to go outside there and be accepted on en masse. For me, is the issue of food security in Kenya. I mean, we'll be counting a few years.
But funding remains a challenge for many innovators.
Well, when I started, it was just an idea, like, how can I change gardening? But then the automation you have, you can use it in any garden, open field garden or even greenhouses. But then that wasn't interesting. As an innovator, you try find out solutions to challenges that are being faced. And in an urban setup, there's limited space to farm. So we had to figure out a way whereby you can maximize on the space that you have.
Luckily, the government is coming in to cushion those in the innovation space.
We must really consider the environment. There's no other way. I don't think we have an option. Even though there's a thin line, there's always be said, oh, why don't we develop as fast? But we cannot, I don't think we can take it as a case of expediency, that we must industrialize at all costs.
Still, more is needed, especially in terms of policy creation and implementation, and that will have to come from the Kenyan government. It's clear, though, that the drive to innovate and change lives is still very much alive in the country. Beryl Ooro for CGTN.